Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachaline Nivasisha Sunyavari Pashtatar Sakarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, let's bring up the book. Wonderful chapter, chapter 14. I think one of my favorite chapters. It's so relevant to our devotional practice. So, as conditioned souls, we need to understand very clearly the three modes of material nature and establish ourselves very strongly in the mode of goodness. So very important. Welcome, Mother Sita Vallabhi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Okay.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So we're continuing with text 9. Have I pressed all the buttons? Yeah, pressed all the right buttons. Okay. Someone like to kick off with reading text 9?
Can I read, Prabhu?
Yes, go ahead. Thank you, Mother Sita Vallabhi. You can read the Sanskrit. Have a go. Well, you're quite good at Sanskrit. So
No, I'll try. Sattvam sukhe sanjanti raja karmani bharata gnanam avritya tutama pramade sanjayati uta. O son of Bharat, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion, conditions one to fruitive action, and ignorance, covering one's knowledge, binds one to madness.
okay, there you go. It's a purple.
Yeah. When the mode of passion is prominent, the modes of goodness and ignorance are defeated. When the mode of goodness is prominent, passion and ignorance are defeated. And when the mode of ignorance is prominent, passion and goodness are defeated. This competition is always going on. Therefore, one who is actually intent on advancing in Krishna consciousness has to transcend these three modes.
Mother, I think we're on, was that my mistake? We're on text 9.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I thought, why are we reading the wrong? Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry. I've looked at the wrong one. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
9 purport. 9.
Okay. Yeah. A person in the mode of goodness is satisfied by his work. Just 1 second. Or, sorry, my screen is a bit funny. A person in the mode of goodness is satisfied by his work or intellectual pursuit, just as the philosopher, scientist, or educator may be engaged in the particular field of knowledge and may be satisfied in the way. A man in the mode of passion may be engaged in fruitive activity. He owns as much as he can and spends for good causes. Sometimes he tries to open hospitals, gives to charity institutions, etc. These are signs of one of the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance covers knowledge. In the mode of ignorance, whatever one does is good neither for him nor for anyone else.
Oh, yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Any initial comments on this? Or questions? There's
So,
some.
Prabhu, I have a question with regards to like opening charity institutions and hospitals.
Yeah.
Hospitals is for good cause, isn't it? Like it is helping everyone.
Yeah, that's the point I was going to bring out. So that's a good question. It's a good, let's try and understand it. You would think it was a mode of goodness.
Mm.
You'd think that'd be symptomatic of someone in a mode of goodness to open hospitals, who are given charity,
Yeah.
institutions, etc. But here it's Prabhupada is describing it as the mode of passion. Can anyone perhaps try and enlighten us? Why is this described as a mode of passion when it seems to be the mode of goodness?
No, it's a mode of passion because you want to do something to gain something from, feel happy. I open a hospital, I'm treating all these people, like it's making you feel your senses are satisfied.
Yeah, that's correct. I would say. Anybody else? I would say Chandravali's taken us down the right understanding. It could be that,
well, hospitals are connected with a material body, so
yeah,
it's bound to be under the modes of material nature. One of them. not goodness, because goodness is based on knowledge. And I guess if there's no soul involved in the hospital, then it's the mode of passion. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's interesting. I think also because I'm going to say I was just lost of train of thought. Yeah, there's a certain sense of pride may come from being charitable, or it's yeah. Sometimes he tries to open hospitals. A certain, as Mother Chandravali was saying, a certain sense of having achieved something within the material world, opening things and giving in charity. Yeah, Prabhupada says these are signs of the one in the mode of passion. So it's definitely in connection with the material world, obviously, and for sustaining material life. Material life. It's not that we decry opening hospitals and giving in charity. It's better than being irreligious. It's better than being in a mode of ignorance. So at least someone in a mode of passion, yeah, like someone in a mode of passion, like he owns as much as he can and he spends for good causes. So it's all so he earns as much as he can and he's spending for good material causes, opening hospitals, giving in charity. So this is all symptomatic of someone in a mode of passion. I guess people in a mode of goodness always may give. They may also give in charity. Anybody else? Any comments on this?
You know, those who open orphanages as well. Okay, you open orphanages, but then what are you teaching them? You know, are you teaching them Krishna conscious? You know,
Yeah, most cases not, I would
no,
presume.
no. This, you know, but it's just that when these big people come along because they've opened schools and they open hospitals, they kind of, oh, because they get cheered because they've given lots of Lakshmi, they're the one, their names go up on the board. It's like brings your
Yeah,
ego up and you feel,
yeah. That's a good point. I think if we, especially in India, that you got those who open hospitals and give to charities, etc. They're mainly industrialists. You know, they're mainly wealthy industrialists, and you have to be in a mode of passion to be a wealthy industrialist. So then, at the same time, they may also often in India, they're somewhat pious. So although they're engaged in material commerce, they're quite concerned about their karma. So because of that, they try to offset it by opening hospitals or giving in charity. So they try to offset accumulated bad karma from their various black market dealings, you know. So that might be one way to look at it as well. These are persons who are industrially maybe quite wealthy, may own lots of property, and if they're somewhat pious, then they're going to open hospitals as part of that. Yeah, so perhaps that's the way to understand it.
also I was thinking that when they do things like that, they get lots of piety. So then they will go to say Indraloka or places like that, and then you really enjoy all the piety you've had, really have really good life. But what you're going to do eventually, you're going to come back again.
Yeah, that's another aspect, and that's mentioned in a few verses coming. What's the destination of one in the mode of goodness? What's the destination of one in the mode of passion? What's the destination of one in the mode of ignorance? And if I remember rightly, um, the mode of goodness, they go to the heavenly planets. Mode of passion remain in the earthly realm. All right, okay. So let's move on. Unless there are any other questions or comments here, and move on to text 10. Yeah, I learned this verse many years ago, and I forgot it many years ago as well. It'd be good to relearn this next verse. Very good verse. Any readers out there? Okay, I can jump in quickly. Rajashtamas chabi bhuya sattvam bhavati bharata rajas sattvam tamascheva tamam sattvam rajastata. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the mode of passion and ignorance, O son of Bharat. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times, ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. Purple. When the mode of passion is prominent, the modes of goodness and ignorance are defeated. When the mode of goodness is prominent, passion and ignorance are defeated. And when the mode of ignorance is prominent, passion and goodness are defeated. This competition is always going on. Therefore, one who is actually intent on advancing in Krishna consciousness has to transcend these three modes. The prominence of some certain mode of nature is manifested in one's dealings, in his activities, in eating, etc. Okay, read that again. The prominence of some certain mode of nature is manifest in one's dealings, in his activities, in eating, etc. All this will be explained in latter chapters. But if one wants, he can develop by practice the mode of goodness and thus defeat the modes of ignorance and ignorance and passion. One can similarly develop the mode of passion and defeat goodness and ignorance, or one can develop the mode of ignorance and defeat goodness and passion. Although there are these three modes of material nature, if one is determined, he can be blessed by the mode of goodness, and by transcending the mode of goodness, he can be situated in pure goodness, which is called the Vasudeva state, a state in which one can understand the science of God. By the manifestation of particular activities, it can be understood in what mode of nature one is situated. Okay. So there's competition here. Any initial questions or comments or reflections? Yeah.
During a day, you can work out that you can be in different modes.
Yeah.
You know, like in chanting, that's why they say to wake up early in the morning and chant your rounds, because that's the mode of goodness.
Yeah.
You know, by the evening, if you're trying to chant your rounds in the evening, definitely ignorance, passionate, whatever, you know.
Yeah, that can be quite easily experienced, isn't it? Everyone understands, even the non-devotee will, at least will hopefully, they have some appreciation for morning time if they wake up in the morning. But yeah, so that's convenient for chanting the holy name. Also, the holy name is transcendental, and if one has a taste for chanting, then any time is good. Morning, noon, or evening. Yeah. But I think we can all perhaps admit that the three modes of material nature are very powerful. I mean, I've been chanting Hare Krishna and practicing Krishna consciousness since 1990. And I can definitely say I'm not free of the influence of the mode of passion and ignorance. Yeah. Sometimes my dealings, by being influenced by the modes of material nature, are not in a mode of goodness. Or sometimes one's eating, isn't it? We can experience, I guess, as we advance or as we progress in Krishna consciousness, it's a hope that we'll be more steadily situated in a mode of goodness. And that should be a prominent mode. Yeah, by the practice of Krishna consciousness, lifestyle, and the culture. But sometimes we may be in an environment or maybe in a situation where we may find ourselves succumbing to the mode of passion or the mode of ignorance. Yeah. So, yeah. Any comments or questions on that? Also, this is spoken of in quite some detail in Canto 11 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. I was thinking of having a look at that chapter as we're reading through this. You know? So this is something, we want to understand Krishna. We want to come to the Vasudeva state. So these are practical things that we can actually do to actually help us. Yeah, so we can understand as we're going to go through this chapter, what are the symptoms of the mode of goodness, which is being explained here, and really try to live in a mode of goodness. Yeah. Our bathroom should be in a mode of goodness. Yeah, I don't know if you have a suchi kit. I don't know if brahmacharis have suchi kits. Ladies have suchi kits. You know what a suchi kit is? No?
No.
It's because brahmachari, we live in ashrams and we
Oh, you
all,
mean bathroom bag with your
yeah,
tissue?
bathroom bag. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, only when we go away.
Yeah, so that should be the mode of goodness, and the bathroom should be the mode of goodness. Our bin should be in a mode of goodness. Yeah, our cupboard should be in a mode of goodness. Our drawer should be in a mode of goodness. Our clothes should be folded up in a mode of goodness. Our books should be in a mode of goodness. Our carpet or whatever should be in a mode of goodness. Our garage should be in a mode of goodness. Yeah. Our attic should be in a mode of goodness. Our should be in a mode of goodness. Yeah. And that will affect their consciousness. Like yesterday, I was teaching devotees in their worship of Gauri Tai, and I was doing a mock assessment with one Mataji. And her setup is called Patrastapana, where you sit down and you set up your paraphernalia. It was all in the mode of passion. It wasn't well laid out. It wasn't easy to see where everything was, and her worship, all due respect, she's just learning. Her worship was very passionate. One time, even the deities nearly fell over one time when she was trying that. And it was all, so I had to explain to her, actually, you did very nice, mother, but actually, you need to set out your paraphernalia in your worship much better. Do it very neat, so everything's in line, so everything looks nice, and that will help you to come to the mode of goodness in your worship. Yeah. But it was all she's worshiping God in Thai, but it's very much passionate. Like there was flower petals on a table, and she cleaned the table, but she just cleaned the flower petals off the table onto the floor. You know. So I did a mock assessment, so I write it down, and then afterwards I had to give her the feedback. Typical, with all due respect, typical Indian thing, just throw it out the door. Just put it out. So for example, so everything we do should be there to help us to be more strongly situated in a mode of goodness. Just like to be truthful, like the desk I'm sitting at now, I've been busy throughout the day here doing different things on my desk, and it was a complete mess. So I thought before I give this, before we have this Bhagavad Gita discussion, I want to clean my desk. So I put the books away, I put the pens away, I made it look sattvic. And that's going to help me, you know. That's going to help me to be more sattvic. It's going to help me to invoke the mode of goodness by my place is sattvic. It's a big discussion we have on deity worship classes as well. Sattvic. So devotees should be situated. We should be act in a mode of goodness. Everything about this should be sattvic. The food we eat, the cupboards we get the food from, the oven we cook the food in should all be clean, or should all be sattvic, That's Prabhupada's standard. Prabhupada mentioned again and again about cleanliness as being very important. What's that saying? Cleanliness is next to
Godliness.
godliness, yeah. Prabhupada in one place it says that one cannot go back to Godhead without being clean. Without being, I won't turn this into a Pujari class, but there's wonderful, if anyone's interested, there's wonderful lectures that Hari Sori gives when he was traveling with Prabhupada. He's about Prabhupada's cleanliness and standards of cleanliness. Phew. It's really amazing to hear. Yeah, so that's going to be the mode. So say someone is in a Vasudeva state, say like Prabhupada, it's going to manifest practically externally. It's going to manifest as the mode of sattva. You look at everything Prabhupada did, it was very sattvic, although he's on the transcendental stage. But it's going to manifest practically as a sattva, the way Prabhupada ate, the way he interacted with devotees, the way he organized himself, the way his own personal belongings and the way, etc., etc. It's all manifest as sattva. Yeah, it manifests as sattva. Any comments?
I have a question
Yeah.
on it. Okay, so you live in a really sattvic mood, cupboards, bathrooms, the whole place is all really nice.
Yeah.
And you kind of get attached to being comfortable in that mood, in that place. You see, so then that can be your attachment then, right?
Yeah, you have to look out for that. But the idea is that in that atmosphere, we're going to be able to better hear and chant the holy name of the Lord. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's going to endow us with a natural sense of detachment. Sorry, I just got too much sun coming here. That's going to endow us with a natural sense of detachment. So we use that sattvic situation in order to develop Krishna consciousness. And we will be able to do it better than if our house was a tip, as they say. Or a house is a big mess. We're going to find it easier to find time to hear and chant the glories of the Lord. And that in itself is going to manifest in us a sense of detachment. In other words, becoming attached to the holy name and attached to Krishna, we're naturally going to have a sense of detachment, even within the midst of our sattvic environment. And there's verses later that describe, I was just reading ahead a bit, and reading the commentaries by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Baladev Vijayabhushana, and they're commenting that actually being sattvic without being God conscious is like the decoration of just like decorating a dead body. It's like pointless, it's pointless. So ultimately, being in the mode of goodness is just there to facilitate our hearing and chanting, to facilitate our devotional service. And from that, Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Payojataha Kanula So Vairagyam Gyana Chatat Ahoitukam. From that should we manifest some detachment from this world. Okay, yes. So but it's with experience as well, we can sometimes experience the mode of passion within our mind or the mode of ignorance, and we can do something about it. We cannot act according to the pushings of the lower modes. That takes experience, and that takes some level of advancement as well, I would say, to be able to identify the lower modes manifesting in your subtle body and being able to then not act according to those lower pushings, or whatever it may be. Yeah. That means one is practicing one is steady. What's the word for steady? Nishta. Yeah. One is fixed in their devotional practices. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything? It's okay?
Yeah. Krishna helps as well, to get over different modes at different times. Like, when somebody's upset you or something, and right, next time I meet, I'm going to say this, that, whatever. And then a little bit later, you just, why bother? Why even bother doing anything,
Yeah.
Then you realize what life is. It's such a short life. You put philosophy into it, and what's the point?
Yeah. There was one devotee, he's a senior preacher in our temple. He's described it that sometimes you're loading a gun. You're loading a gun, ready to shoot someone down with your words, loading a gun up. But yes. I was going to say something that caught away from. All right, let's dig around more and find out more about the modes of material nature. All right, so there's competition. Would someone like to read text 11?
I can read.
Go ahead.
Sorry,
Thank you.
go on then.
No, you do. I only do it when nobody does.
Okay. सर्वद्वारेषु देहेऽस्मिन् प्रकाश उपजायते ज्ञानं यदा तदा विद्याद् विवृद्धं सत्त्वमिति युत. The manifestations of the modes of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. There are 9 gates in the body: 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, mouth, genital, and anus. When every gate is illuminated by the symptoms of goodness, it should be understood that one has developed the mode of goodness. In the mode of goodness, one can see things in the right position, one can hear things in the right position, and one can taste things in the right position. One becomes cleansed inside and outside. In every gate, there is a development of the symptoms of happiness, and that is a position of goodness.
Okay. Sounds attractive?
Very
Well,
much.
sounds confusing.
Confusing. Why is that? What?
Well, with the eyes, yes, you can see only like Krishna or deities or devotees.
Oh, yeah. What does it mean? Genitals in the anus. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Dare I ask the question, what does it mean? The genitals in the anus in a mode of goodness. Actually, I remember Purnachandra Goswami. Go on, Bhava Chandra.
No. I was just thinking that even that, it can be controlled by, like, when you're eating in the right moods and you living a right kind of life. You control.
Yeah.
Anyway, you tell what you.
It just means you're regulated.
Yeah.
These are regulated. Genitals, there's regulation there, dharmic,
Yeah.
You have regulated time of passing. Yeah, you have a regulated sattvic life. So your body works, actually the body works a lot better when it's in the mode of goodness. Yeah, it functions better. Yeah. Although the body is perishable, ultimately, we understand that. But if someone's living in the mode of goodness, they're not. 1 second. Sorry. Oh, I lost it. Can you still see the screen? Oh, I can't see it.
Yeah.
So, what was I saying? Someone, I lost my train of thought again.
Controlling the body, eating habits, and
So the body itself, we see sometimes you can see persons are very passionate, then they're prone to get sick and all types of diseases. The mode of ignorance, and what to speak of the mode of ignorance, by eating things in the mode of ignorance, eating things in the mode of passion, living a passionate lifestyle. Some people, they haven't got time to eat properly because they're so passionate. They're so passionate, haven't got they just cannot be regulated. So the whole body is unregulated. But here it describes the body is illuminated by knowledge. That's the natural manifestation or from the mode of goodness. It means spiritual knowledge, because those are different, but material knowledge, I think it's described before, you can see things correctly. You can see what's going on more clearly. It's not confusing or foggy. You have a really clear understanding of your environment. Like Prabhupada was very sharp. Prabhupada wouldn't miss anything, within a room that wasn't right. Prabhupada could, disciples would often describe how Prabhupada wouldn't miss anything. He was so sharp. That's because, of course, he's on Vasudeva platform, but someone in mode of goodness manifests as goodness where he can see things, everything in its right position. It says here, every gate is illuminated, but it should, here it says in a mode of goodness, one can see things in the right position. You can hear things in the right position because your mind is ready to hear. It's not wavering. It's just like, like a clear lake where there's no wind and it's very still. Someone's mind is like that. One time my spiritual master described when he was given a lecture on the three modes, how sometimes he can say to a disciple, for example, please go and get my coat. But because the disciple's in a mode of passion, he cannot hear that simple instruction. And he brings him something else. Or he has to come back and ask again what was requested, because he's in a mode of passion. So you can understand how the mode of passion, then, if there's two people in the mode of passion, it's quite easy they can have a disagreement. And that's why there is a lot of disagreement. That's why there's a lot of misunderstanding and disagreement and consequential bitterness and etc., or consequential, bad feelings about this person, that person, and misunderstanding and bad communication. It's just the modes of material nature. That's all it is. It may seem to be, it's this or that. It's the modes of material nature. Two people arguing, etc. Of course, they are responsible. They've been compromised and they're influenced by the modes, but ultimately, it's just symptomatic of the modes of material nature. Were two countries fighting with each other? It's the mode of passion, the mode of ignorance. Two people fighting, it's the mode of ignorance and passion. Yeah. Yes, that's why this whole world is just constituted of the three modes of material nature, and specifically in the materialistic civilization, the mode of good and the mode of passion, ignorance, is the norm. That's the standard. But in previous ages, the norm was a mode of goodness. The way of living was the mode of goodness. But in this day and age, in this passionate materialistic society, this hedonistic, secular, materialistic society, it's just a mode of passion. So you have to find a mode of goodness. You have to get out of the cities, to find a mode of goodness often. Anyway, any other comments or questions about this?
Krishna Prabhu?
Yes, please.
I was just thinking, Prabhu, I think those days, even two people arguing, but we take it as in a good spirit. But nowadays, even before start speaking, you just put a word saying, why are you arguing? It's even, we can't discuss anything. I think it's a lot of word jugglery, and even the person is in the mode of goodness, the other person will pull that person into mode of passion or ignorant, just using that word, why are you arguing? Even the kid, I have seen the parents, because I've done this child psychology, for no reason they will ask, why are you arguing? The child is not arguing. Child is trying to ask a question and trying to get a clarification. But this words jugglery is really putting the whole world as, okay, it's a lot of passion.
Yeah.
Even so, I think it's... and that is why a lot of psychological problems.
Yeah. So
because we don't allow people to really come back. Of course, Krishna, that is why sometimes if you see one devotee is asking questions, sometimes even the devotees get upset. Oh, why is he like that? No, but the person wants to inquire. That's the way of inquiring, isn't it, Prabhu?
Yeah, it's just everything. For instance, all the disagreements you see nationally or internationally, or even within the community, etc. It's just all the mode of passion. Yeah, but you mentioned one point there where you become influenced by that. One may become influenced by that. That means that's a test. One's not strongly situated in a mode of goodness. That's a test. When someone's coming at you or you're in a situation that
Yeah.
is very passionate and you take it like, you just take the bait,
Mm.
and you come down to their mode and you get in the same mood as them
Mm.
and you end up, you lose your standing in
The balance. Yeah.
confidence. Yeah. So that's what it's good to have knowledge about these modes of material nature and to live in the mode of goodness and be strongly situated in the mode of goodness so that we cannot get entangled in unnecessarily unlimited arguments and disagreements in this world. It's so difficult, isn't it? When you've got entangled, so you've been influenced by passion, and you get entangled in unpleasant situation, and then you sit down to try and chant Hare Krishna. I mean, good luck.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
The whole thing going through your head. But if you're only gone about your interactions in a mode of goodness, now it doesn't mean we don't speak about wrongdoings but there's ways to do it in a mode of goodness. But I'm just saying how we shouldn't underestimate the effect of the mode of passion, even in our
Yeah.
dealings as aspiring devotees. Sometimes we get into disagreements and it can affect our subtle body and our mind. And we find it difficult then to hear and chant about the Lord. So that's
Mm.
why it's really important to be in a mode of goodness, just so we can chant the holy name and we can
Yeah.
chant about Krishna. We don't want to be in a disturbed frame of mind. So therefore, we move, act, speak in a mode of goodness.
Prabhu, I just wanted to ask, it's nothing to do with this, but it came to my thought, just a clarification. If something has happened, okay, and someone wants to say sorry, and in the middle of you just leave um, the service, and you trying to come and say vancha kalpata rupasya kripa sindhu te vacha, like that, and you forget your service also, you do that, and that irritates that other devotees again too much, more than what happened. Do you think that is the right way to take forgiveness, Prabhu?
It's true. I can't really comment on that. You're speaking about a very specific situation. It's
No, I
difficult.
just wanted to ask you, Prabhu, is that right to immediately? It's it's not like a one. It's just like a uh, not even really in a submissive mood, just like trying to, just like a
I understand. I think
kind of humor thing, or one kapatrupa say, like. Do you think that we should do things like that, Prabhu?
no, it should be sincere. It should be sincere. Often, what's best is
Hmm.
to not immediately, is to come back the next day, let things
Yeah.
settle, and then the next day, oh, Prabhuji or Madhiti, yes,
Yeah.
I didn't feel
Exactly.
very happy about that exchange. Please
Yeah.
forgive me. It can be difficult if you try and do it artificially in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
It is often artificial.
Yeah.
It's all symptomatic of the mode of passion. So
Okay.
it may be better just the next day or the next time you see that person.
Yeah.
You've had time to reflect, they've had time to reflect, and you may
Yeah.
really offer one's
Mhm.
obeisance.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Even I felt the same.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to confirm whether what did I think right. That's why. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, I've got this I want but there's this article I read. It's a Christian article, but I found it interesting. It's basically the title of it is when God wants you to keep your mouth shut. Sometimes it like that. The best thing to do is to keep you know, sometimes God is not, it's along the lines, God is not listening to what you're going to say. He's listening to what you're not going to say. You understand? Sometimes the best course of action is not to say anything. It's just to keep quiet.
Silence.
That's what
Silence speaks millions.
And that's sometimes, and that's what Krishna is more wants to hear, what you're not going to say. Even if you're defamed, even if there's injustice, even if this and that, Krishna's listening to. Are you going to defend yourself? Are you going to, it sounds quite blunt, but are you going to keep your mouth shut?
Mm.
Sounds a bit strong when I say that, keep your mouth shut. But sometimes they're not so easy. I mean, it's actually one Christian preacher who gave this sermon based on this, keeping your mouth shut. And I found it interesting, you know. Anyway.
That's right. But sometimes it says silence speaks millions.
Yeah, sometimes it's best because the more things you say, then the worse it's going to get. So it's called a mode of passion, a mode of ignorance. So it's good just to step back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
But we shouldn't keep our mouth shut when it comes to Bhagavad Gita and reading the next verse.
I find it really interesting. Like just give an example of this paragraph or whatever.
Yeah.
Being in different modes, you will understand it differently. It'll bring out points in your head, you know. And I really, when I listen to classes as well, or sometimes somebody said something, how do they think like that? Isn't that nice? Why didn't I think it that way? You know, you can just see that they are in mode of goodness, so they see things in a different perspective.
Yeah, it reminds me as well. It's a very good point you made there, Chandra. Also, reminds me even the whatever mode of nature that you may be influenced by, that will cause you to understand the scripture in a certain way. For instance, if you're in a mode of passion, you're reading scripture to find reasons to substantiate your passionate activities. So you can justify your activities, and that's what you're reading in a particular text. You're reading this. You're not actually reading perhaps as it is. Your mind's colored. So even reading, you could say there's reading in a mode of goodness, even reading Bhagavad Gita in a mode of goodness, the mode of ignorance and the mode of passion.
Because a lot of conversation come up between devotees. Well, Prabhupada said this here and Prabhupada said that there. But you don't, the basic point is that he would have said different things at different times according time circumstance. You know, so, we have to.
Yeah. So on that as well, so we're going on about this, but I think it's quite interesting. It's quite important. So we should choose very carefully who we have disagreements with. No, it should be with friends. It should be with like-minded persons you can have a sattvic conversation with, not on the fly having a disagreement, you know, where it's just going to get passionate. Like I've got a couple of, I had this one good friend of mine, and we had a very good conversation of what we disagreed about. But because we're friends, we could hear each other out without interrupting. And we were speaking about the fall of the jiva. But him, I could have a wonderful discussion. I would present my points and he would present his points, and we would see what we had in common, and we'd take it on to the next stage. I think we went on for about 2 hours. It was such a wonderful discussion. I felt so satisfied with it. But I wouldn't have that discussion, say, with someone, you know, who I didn't know so much, someone who, you know, well, this situation is going to be a bit passionate. It's going to turn into like a bit of a argument instead of a discussion. So there's ways to discuss things, and there's places and there's times and there's circumstances to discuss philosophical points. And definitely it shouldn't be done in a mode of passion, because then you're going to make offenses. Definitely not in a mode of ignorance. You know?
That conversation you had, just a quick answer.
No, I'm not going to get into it here.
No, because I heard something, Kadambagana Maharaj's lecture, but we did not fall from there.
Yeah.
if
I'm not
we
gonna-
already,
I'm not
Yeah,
going to open up that discussion here now. We can have that discussion another time.
Yes, we didn't fall from there.
I
Agreed.
I just
Jai.
want, between you two talking, what did you feel? That's all. One sentence, you know.
Okay, one sentence, and then we'll move on to the next verse.
Okay. Because I had a class, that's why I want to clear in my. Well, I don't want to clear. I know what my thoughts are.
It's not so easy just to say one sentence and move on, because it's always, oh, why?
Did we fall? No, we didn't.
No, no.
Okay. Gita Masa, let me see what he's coming out with after 2 hours of a conversation with the senior devotee.
No, he wasn't. We were friends. I would
Yeah,
say
friend.
when he wasn't senior to me, we're kind of.
Well, you senior, so he's senior, if you equal.
Yeah. Okay. Because we've had 2 or 3 conversations about it at different times, and without opening up a whole Pandora's box, I would say I'm an agnostic on the subject. I'm not either one way or the other, but I'm going on the side of we didn't fall.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going more on that side, and he's also
Yeah.
in our discussions, he is also appreciating this point of view, whereas before he was against it.
Mhm.
So let's just leave it there. I don't profess to have a absolute understanding on the subject. This is just my philosophical speculation, also based on what my spiritual master's conclusions as well. But the main thing is to read Bhagavad Gita, get purified, and go back to Godhead. How we
Yeah,
got
yeah.
Isn't it?
Exactly. Not. Yeah, that's very true.
All right. Let's get a bit passionate and move on.
That cleared up what I listened, and I had that idea anyway. But
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, you got to be careful where you have and who you have that conversation with.
I'm not. I just heard it, so I was meditating on that, and I understood.
Yeah. Quick, let's move on. Okay. Text chapter 14, text 12.
Well, okay, shall I?
Yeah, go ahead.
But I don't know how to do this Sanskrit.
Just have a go. It's quite easy.
Yeah. Lobha pravrittirir aramba. Look. Karmanam asama spriha. Rajasi etani jayanti vivrita bharata sabha. Translation. O chief of Bharats, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activities, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develops. Purport. One in the mode of passion is never satisfied with the position he has already acquired. He hankers to increase his position. If he wants to construct a residential house, he tries his best to have a palatial house, as if he would be able to reside in that house eternally. And he develops a great hankering for sense gratification. There's no end to sense gratification. He always wants to remain with his family and his house and to continue the process of sense gratification. There is no cessation of this. All these symptoms should be understood as characteristic of the mode of passion.
Okay. So this is modern civilization. It's just the mode of passion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never satisfied. Always wants more and more and more. Even to the extent that the whole earth is coming almost destroyed. The whole ecosystem is in an imbalance because of the mode of passion. Want more and more and more and more. Like one is never satisfied. Prabhupada says it. There's no end to sense gratification. Different varieties of how you can satisfy your senses. It is unending. although it's the same experience in even the lower species of life, with the added intelligence of a human being, they just create so many varieties of sense gratification. Yeah, it's just, I think we mentioned this before, you just walk in the shop, all you want to buy is one bag and there's 1,000 bags to choose from. It's unlimited. Yeah. Anyway, any other comments or questions on this, or observations, reflections? Yeah. Mode of passion.
Wanting more and more Krishna consciousness.
We couldn't hear you, Mother.
Here,
So, how are you going to say about that, Prabhu?
I
You
couldn't
want
hear
to
your
find
first.
out.
Couldn't hear you. You will have to repeat.
Wanting more and more. Oh, can you hear me now, Prabhu?
Now we can. Yeah.
Yeah. Wanting to know more and more, never satisfied in Krishna consciousness. So, how do you think about this, Prabhu?
Huh. It's
You want to find out all the questions, you want to go deeper and deeper. I think passion is also a little bit required there, isn't it, Prabhu?
yeah. It's we should understand that as far as becoming Krishna conscious and attainment of Krishna consciousness, we will never be satisfied because Krishna is unlimited.
Unlimited, yes.
But that could you call it dissatisfaction? It's the principle of the unlimited potencies of the spiritual realm. The experience is one of ever expansion and ever appreciation. There is no limit to it. There is no limit to the beauty of Krishna. There is no limit to the wonder and sweetness of his pastimes. And the jiva is nourished by that ever increasing experience. In other words, it's not material. That's the opposite of people in material life. They're not satisfied because they're not finding satisfaction, and they're trying to find it in material things.
Yeah, so this is transcendental then.
Yeah, so it leads to what we know is, it leads to frustration,
About goodness.
anxiety, it leads to depression, it leads to disease. But you could say the not feeling or feeling you want more about Krishna is completely natural for the soul. And one becomes transcendental to the material world and becomes full of supersidity, becomes full of ananda. But that ananda is ever increasing. Even Radharani doesn't feel satisfied.
Anxiety.
She's
Full
always
of anxiety.
wants more of Krishna. Krishna doesn't feel satisfied. He wants more reciprocation from his devotees. So it's not material, it's completely transcendental. So
anxiety for Krishna.
Yeah. And we all want to taste the nectar of the holy name more and more and more.
Yeah.
Because it's so attractive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank
So to get ready to never be satisfied in Krishna consciousness.
you. Yeah.
I know, end of the day, you think you haven't done anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just feel, I should have done more. You try and look at yourself. Have you wasted? No, you haven't tried to waste any time, but yet you're not satisfied because you haven't done what you should have done or what you could do. Whatever.
But those feelings, those emotions and feelings are untying your attachment to the material world. Because you're developing, by having those feelings of wanting to please Krishna more and wanting to serve Krishna, you're actually in the process of creating a spiritual body. You're actually creating a spiritual body by doing that, by developing your sense of wanting to please Krishna. And that's because that's the mood in the spiritual world. So that's what we're supposed to think. You know, it's good to feel like that we want to do more, we want to please Krishna more. This is the means this is the subtle body. This is the spiritual subtle body that we're building.
Is it for, say you want to do like more reading, more hearing, more chanting, whatever. Is it for you, or you want to do it for Krishna?
Is it?
How does that work? You know, where there's all these books here, or wish I could read. You hear and you say, oh, you should read Srimad Bhagavatam. You should read Bhagavad Gita, even one slok, or you should do, but by the time you've done everything else that you need to do, you haven't done what you want to do or what you should do.
Mm.
You know what I mean? You know, then
Yeah.
are you doing it for please you? That I read Srimad Bhagavatam, I read Bhagavad Gita today, I read Krishna book or whatever, you know? So where is pleasing Krishna?
Well, we are parts and parcels of Krishna. So
It's a win-win situation.
yeah, it's a win-win. So there is that is the only thing, or that the only desire that is natural for the jiva is wanting to hear and chant about Krishna. So yes, it's for you, but it's for you as eternal servant of Krishna. It is not disconnected from Krishna. I don't know if I'm answering your question, or anybody else like to make a comment or answer Chandravati's query here?
What
So
do you think?
say if we're reading Bhagavad Gita here now, is it for my pleasure or is it for Krishna's pleasure?
Ultimately, it is for Krishna's pleasure, because we are here meant to be doing everything for Krishna's pleasure. But because he is pleased, we are being happy.
Yeah. What's that? Machita makata prana bodayantu
Parasuram.
a few words wrong there. But yeah, the devotees relish unlimited happiness and always discussing the activities of Krishna. So
Yeah.
it's for me, but it's for me as an eternal servant of Krishna. And so it's a simple meditation, but what Mother and Padma said, it's a good thing to actually do. And it's so simple. You know, before you chant japa, I want to do this. I want to chant my rounds for Krishna's pleasure. Yeah. Before you go into kirtan, I want to sing for Krishna's pleasure. Before you engage in service, I want to do this for Krishna's pleasure. It's good to remind us. It's a simple meditation, but it's very powerful. Because we might get distracted from that, and we might go to a kirtan in the same to enjoy. You know, with the same way one goes to a disco to like have a good time. But really, the mentality should be, oh, I want to sing the holy names for the pleasure of Krishna. And naturally, you're going to be completely ecstatic in that, with that attitude, because that's a natural constitution of the jiva. They want to give pleasure to Krishna. So it's, before we do a yagna of sacrifice of the holy name, we are doing it for the pleasure of Krishna. So we could say we're reading Bhagavad Gita for the pleasure of Krishna. And then, because just like if you decorate the reflection in a mirror, or if you decorate yourself, then the reflection becomes also decorated. Because we're parts and parcels of Krishna. We're doing something for Krishna's pleasure. That's going to give pleasure to Krishna. And automatically, pleasure potency is going to manifest within ourselves as well. But if we're trying to just enjoy separately from Krishna, then we may not experience that same level of satisfaction.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
yeah, I get your point, and we do that. We always doing like everything for Krishna's pleasure. You want to do everything for Krishna's pleasure.
Yeah, that's the mood of the residents of the spiritual world.
Yes, but it has to just come out really like strong. You
Has
know,
to be spontaneous. has to be, ultimately, it will be spontaneous. It has to be strong, yeah. So at least we can offer some prayers, even if we offer some humble prayers. At least, my Lord, please let me do this for your pleasure. Even if it may not be so strong, we got to start somewhere. So we humbly submit some prayers to Krishna before we engage in our chanting our rounds or engage in some kirtan or some activity for Krishna. That I want to let me do this now for Krishna's pleasure. Yeah. Sometimes I have to think like that. Sometimes if I have to give a class, sometimes I have no idea what I'm going to say, or didn't get time to study, or let me just do it for Krishna's pleasure.
Oh yeah.
All right, perhaps should we pause there for today? 7 o'clock. Could discuss a lot more. It's unlimited, isn't it? It's unlimited, and now we're not satisfied. We want to another hour. Another hour. Let's make it 3 hours today on Bhagavad Gita. But I think we might lose a few people then.
2 hours, not 3, Prabhu.
2 hours. All right. Well, let's not stop. Let's pause, okay? And let's continue discussion on the three modes of material nature. Which verse we get up to? Text 12, wasn't it?
14, 13.
14, 13. So that starts next week.
14, 13.
14, 13. Okay. Thank you, everyone. And just remember about the mode of goodness. Clean up your cupboards. Clean up your oven. Clean up your garage. Clean your bar of soap. Clean your bathroom. And it helps you to chant the holy name. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Ekadashi meditation.
Oh,
Thank you.
tomorrow, yes.
Yeah. Tomorrow is Ekadashi. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.